Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
We're so thrilled to have back on the show. Incredible singer, songwriter. He does it all. Rock and Roll Hall of Famer. Also half of the famous rock and roll duo Hall & Oates, John Oates.
Great to see you, Eric.
Great to see you as well. It
nice.
seems like it's been too long.
Yeah, we've done this a few times, but it's been a while.
Well, and you have some great new music out, and you released one of your singles this past year, and now you've got the new one, Disconnected, out now.
That's right.
So let's talk about this. This is kind of a new deal for you with your solo career, to where you're doing digital song releases only.
Yeah, well, it's, I like to think of myself as modern.
Yes, you are.
All kidding aside. During the pandemic, I wrote a lot of songs, and I was wondering what to do with them. And I finally, I kind of checked out, what was going on in the digital world, and the DSPs, and what happened was I realized, that people just really aren't buying anything physical anymore. Right. The CD's gone the way of the dinosaur, and vinyl's still cool if you're a real collector. But I thought, let me give it a try. Let me release a couple of these songs digitally, on all the major platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, whatever it might be. And I said, well, let's give it a try. And I put a team together with a place called The Orchard, which helps me release, and another company called Black Box, which is really a cool digital marketing company. Wow. And they're kind of they're kind of getting me up to speed on how this all works. So we released the first one, as you said, in late October of 22. And then, of course, Christmas came, and that kind of, we did the Christmas thing.
Right. Well, and also that was tied to a charity too, with Movember, right?
That's right. Movember reached out to me, obviously being the patron saint of facial hair, from the 70s.
Yes.
But it's a great, in all seriousness, it's a great organization.
There's actually social media just for your mustache, right?
I guess so. I think, well, we have to talk about that later. But, Movember is a great organization. It's for men's health, mental health, physical health, and as you know, not enough men really address a lot of things, like to kind of keep it tucked away. Right. So it was great to be part of that organization, and I did a lot of social media along with it, and that was nice. And the song "Pushing a Rock" was really, it was about overcoming struggles.
Right, an incredible
song. So
it
dovetailed perfectly with the messaging from Movember, right?
And you seem so at home with the video and with the song and everything. Just a great, hummable song, with the melody and everything.
Well, thanks. I'm tapping back into my early 70s R&B roots.
Which I love.
I've been doing Americana and roots music for a long time, but this is a different kind of roots music.
Well, you got a lot of positive attention from your album Arkansas also.
Well, yeah, Arkansas was a wonderful experience for me, especially doing it here in Nashville with the great musicians and the Good Road Band, which, I had people like Sam Bush involved, Guthrie Trapp, and all those guys. And it was, we toured behind that around the country, and it was wonderful. And I got a chance to explore the real history of American popular music, which I'm very interested in. I'm a bit of an armchair historian, so that was great. But now I'm kind of moving a little bit more in a pop direction, but not modern pop. It's I don't know, it's my version of pop, whatever that is.
And to me, it does, like, particularly with the new song, with Disconnected, and with the great video, it gives a nice nod to a lot of the music you and I grew up with, and a lot of people did, to where, you're bringing it forward. You're modernizing, some of that 60s and 70s R&B that we grew up on.
Yeah. And
making it today, because the video is incredible. And I was also going to see if I could get a connection on getting one of the sparkly jackets like you had in the video.
Oh, yeah. Well, when I decided that I was going to be my own background vocal group,
right,
because I did sing all the backgrounds on the record. In fact, on Disconnected, I sang all those backgrounds at home on GarageBand. Amazing. And then imported those into the studio. So I thought, well, if I did it at home, why not? And the sparkly jacket is, here again, a nod to another Nashville legend, Manuel, the great, the guy who's made suits for everyone from Little Richard to Johnny Cash and so on and so forth. So yeah, I had that in the back of my closet. And when I talked to the video director, I said, yeah, I want to have like a 60s R&B background vocal vibe. And I said, I got to find a suit. So I went looking through some suits. I never wear suits. But, and I found in the back of my closet, there was this sparkly jacket. And I said, perfect.
So. It looks amazing, and I liked it also, in the video, which our viewers have to go and find this on YouTube and watch it like I did, to where, you have the multiples of John Oates on there. Okay. And where did you get that great idea from?
Gee, I wonder why. I got it from our favorite gal in the universe, Taylor Swift. I saw Taylor. Well, first of all, Taylor's what she's doing now is incredible, but her Visa commercial, where she's it's the elevator door opens and it's all Taylor's inside. And so, and it's funny, I said to the director, hey, I want to do something like that. He goes, you got any money? How much money you got? I said, well, I'll tell you what, let's do the low rent version of the Taylor Swift vibe. And so we did that. And so, yeah, that's multiple of me singing backgrounds, snapping my fingers, doing all that stuff.
Well, and also with the great vintage footage and everything in there also from different times in your life. And I think, if you listen to the lyrics and you watch the video too, it really brings it all together, John.
Yeah, well, thanks. Disconnected was an important song for me because I wrote it during the pandemic. And that's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking how we were all disconnected from, physically disconnected from each other, emotionally, spiritually, whatever it might be. There was just this very unusual period in our history, really. I think people will always remember that 2-year period where things were different, And so I wanted to speak on it somehow, and so the Disconnected song came from that emotional and, that emotional state. And so, so I'm really proud of it. But at the same time, even though we're disconnected, it still has a little positive spin at the end where it's like, say, yeah, but we can get it back together, if we really try. And so that's, I like to try to keep it as positive.
Well, speaking of positive, you're going to be doing a digital single like every month.
Yeah.
And let's talk about this movie, Gringo.
Oh, okay.
And I understand distribution has been secured.
Well, it's hot off the presses. I just found out yesterday, literally. Gringo is a movie that was made by a very good friend of mine who I know from Colorado, a guy named E.J. Forster. And it was a project that he had done right prior to COVID, and during COVID he was editing. And here again, a lot of this creativity came because I was home.
Right.
Instead of being on tour, instead of traveling
You're
constantly.
constantly on tour, whether it's with, when you were doing the duo thing with Guthrie Trapp, and then obviously with Hall & Oates, and as you would always say, it's like, well, H&O is getting ready to hit the road again.
Yeah, I mean, I like touring. I love playing live, and I like playing with Daryl. I like playing with Guthrie. I like whatever. It's just.
Well, and the fans love you.
It's a different vibe. It's a different flavor for each time out. But I was at home, and he contacted me. He said, hey, I'm doing this little movie. Got any songs? And I said, well, send me a script. He sent me a script. I wrote one song. He said, this is great. You got anything else? I ended up writing 4 songs and doing a duet with a really cool young gal from Mexico City, and we sang in Spanish, which I had never done before. So I had a dip into my high school Spanish. It's pretty crude, but I made it through with some help. But the songs, the movie's called Gringo, and we're going to try to put out a EP of the music. And that'll come out eventually, as soon as we get around to that. So it was really an interesting time, when I could really focus on writing. So now I've got this backlog of music, and I've got to get it all out.
That is so amazing. Well, and the movie's going to release in April, correct?
April 21st, the movie gets released in theaters and also on home video.
Wow.
So you'll be able to see it. It's a great story. It's about a young gal, lives in Southern California, and her father had left years ago. And then her mother, unfortunately, dies in a car accident, and she's like on her own. She decides to go to Mexico to find her father. And things don't turn out quite the way she was hoping at first, but in the best of all Hollywood traditions, in the end, it's all good. So no, it's a great movie. She falls in love, and there's surfing, and there's really cool. It's got a lot of Mexican, Latin American content.
How amazing!
So it's fun.
Right. You constantly reinvent yourself with your music and everything else. And I wanted to bring up too that you're going to be touring internationally again now. Yeah. But it's like you and a percussionist.
Well, yeah, I've been trying to strip this thing down to its basic essentials. It's hard to travel, as we all know. You know what it's like, airports, airplanes, whatever.
Especially with guitars.
It's hard with guitars, it's hard with equipment, it's hard with an entourage of people. Right. So I thought, I'm going to make this as simple as I can and just go out with an acoustic guitar. And I found a great percussionist in London who's working with me in Europe, and I'll be going back to Europe again. Well, I was there in October and November, but I'll be going back this coming summer and opening for Beth Hart and doing some solo shows.
Wow.
So it's fun to get in front of the European audience and do this very kind of simple, stripped down thing.
Right.
And I have the freedom with a percussionist I can play anything I want because I don't have to worry about anyone knowing the chord changes or playing the right bass line or anything. So it's kind of freeing. It's cool.
That's amazing. I mean, and you love doing it also. And I mean, being able to share your music and your catalog between your solo catalog, which you started, going solo in 1999, and then also with Hall & Oates catalog going back to the 70s. Whew. Yeah. How do you pick the songs? I mean,
well, to be honest with you, I'm trying to do more of my solo stuff now because the way I look at it, if you really want to hear Hall & Oates, you should come and see Daryl and I, because that's what it is, and it sounds the way it's supposed to sound, it looks the way it's supposed to look, and. But when I go out on my own now, of course I always do a couple hits, because people kind of want to hear it. But the interesting thing that I've found is, as I've done these solo shows more often, is people at the end, they always say, hey, I'm glad you did, Man Eater or whatever, Out of Touch or whatever. But they said, well, I like your solo stuff, So it's a chance for me to kind of introduce that music to a new audience.
Right, which once again, that music is constantly evolving. Also, though, when I hear certain Hall & Oates songs, I always smile when I hear your voice, and I know it. And I know your guitar work, and also, your great guitar collection. But you've picked up a new guitar too. Now you started using.
Now we're going into your sweet spot. This is Eric's sweet spot.
This is my
folks.
comfort zone.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's talk about this.
Let's talk guitars. We know we can do that all day, right?
Yes.
I was like many people cruising YouTube. And I ran across a bunch of YouTube clips with these guys testing this new Taylor guitar, a new series called GTE. And I think it means Grand Theater
Electronic, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, they were raving about this guitar. And I said, come on, guys, it's a small body Taylor acoustic. How good could it be? But I went to a local music shop here in town, and I said, hey, you got one of these Taylor GTEs? Let me try one of those things. And as soon as I picked it up and started playing, I was like, whoa, this is amazing. There's something about the way it's built. Andy Powers, who's the luthier at Taylor, he put his mojo on this thing, right?
It's got the feed bracing.
Yeah, it's a cool thing, and a short scale, which suits the way I play. So I just fell in love with the guitar. I took it to Europe and did the last fall, took it to Europe. And then when I came back from Europe, I left it there, because I knew I was going back for another tour.
So you had to buy one more.
So I came back and bought another one. Yeah, so now I've got one in Nashville and one in Europe.
And so you got the mahogany in Europe, and then you've got the urban wood, which is made from trees.
Urban ash.
Right, urban ash, which is made from trees taken out of cities.
Which is really cool.
So you're actually helping the environment by buying guitars.
I'm an ecologically sensitive guitarist.
You know what? You're doing just like Taylor Swift, where it's like your green carbon base is smaller and smaller, John.
Yeah, right.
Just from the guitars you buy.
Yeah, me and Taylor, we're like this.
It's like, I got to bring this up too. It was on my movie channel the other day, and once again, you were on Pixels.
Oh yeah, I remember that movie.
And it's like,
that's crazy.
And there you guys are, basically voicing in the movie.
I remember when we did that. It was the first time I knew anything about CGI,
Right.
And I remember we had to hold our heads, steady, and then just go. And then they they put some words in our mouth and moved our lips around. So it was the primitive days of all that. But we've had some kind of fun things.
But I mean, it's just incredible, John, because you constantly seem to reinvent yourself, just like you have with these new singles, these new videos, the movie coming out, singing in Spanish.
You know what?
What's next?
I don't know. There's no more time for rehearsals for me. I'm doing this, man.
That's what you like about just having you and the drummer.
I'm just doing it. I'm just gonna.
You rehearse once and go play a gig.
I'm gonna go until I can't do it no more. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're thrilled that you are, and the new music is so good. Disconnected and Pushing a Rock are up, and the singles are out, the videos are up. I know there's going to be more coming.
Yeah.
And then where do our viewers need to go for everything with web, social media, and those fancy TikToks you do?
Well, TikTok is TikTok. Let's see, johnoates.com is the website, and I'm on Instagram at John Oates Official. I've got a lot of cool stuff on Instagram, and so I would love to take credit for all that, but I actually have a gal who helps me with all that, and she's amazing. So I'm trying to stay out there doing that and playing some shows. I've got a show in Nashville, May 5th.
I was going to bring that up because I'm going to be attending that.
Well, CMA Theater, right at the Country Music Hall of Fame, which is a beautiful theater.
I love that venue.
So I'm really excited about that. We just kind of booked that this morning. I hope it doesn't get canceled before this piece comes out.
There'll be more.
And I'm playing all over. I'm playing in Austin, Texas. I'm playing 3 shows in California, and just kind of having some fun with it, and gonna take this ride for as long as it keeps going.
Well, I'll tell you what, I love the new music, and I'm sure our viewers will also. Be sure and check them out on YouTube, add them to your playlist. They are digital only, great songs, but mainly come and see this guy live. John Oates, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Eric. You're the best. Appreciate it.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.